People would even like call my parents' house and leave voicemails about my arm. People shouting stuff from the sidelines, even parents shouting stuff about my arm. And I'm just angry all the time. I just wanted to fight the world. When I first started martial arts, it was more about me. I was trying to find some kind of identity. You know, I had some identity issues growing up with one hand. I was trying to like impress people, trying to fit in, trying to find my groove, like most people do. But I think it was made a little bit more difficult for me because I had one hand, right? A lot of people saying, oh, you can't do this or you can't do that, or just putting limits on me. The way I was explained it was the amniotic band was wrapped around my arm as a fetus. It just stopped it from growing, so it never grew. And so the ultrasound never picked up that I had one hand. Until I was born, people didn't know it was gonna happen. So it was quite a shock for some people. That's pretty much what it is. I've had it all my life, so don't know any different. People were like weird about my arm at times. Now and again, some older kids would bully me. Everyone wants friends when they're young. You want friends, you want to be liked. School can be a tough place, can't it? So people would even like call my parents' house and leave voicemails about my arm. Like, you know what I mean? Like stupid stuff like that. People took it to a different level. Even after that, playing football and stuff, people shouting stuff from the sidelines, even parents shouting stuff about my arm. Like ridiculous stuff, you wouldn't even believe it. And I'm just angry all the time. I just wanted to fight the world, like prove people wrong. And that's an issue. Like sometimes I just need to like absorb that stuff. Don't need to care about it. I don't take my identity from my arm. My identity is elsewhere, it's with God. So, and that really was what changed my life from that point. My dad was playing for Newcastle when I was born, and then he moved to Chelsea, so we moved down to London. My mum wanted to give me some kind of like extra confidence and self-defense. She signed me up with Sensei Steve Groom. 7 years old, I got into karate. I was always active, always wrestling, always jumping around, throwing punches and kicks, watching Power Rangers and all those shows. So I just loved it straight away. Karate's kind of fun, you're jumping around, doing spin kicks and all that, so it was awesome. Got to the age of like 10, 11, started competing in karate. Wasn't just doing the classes now, I was competing. National competitions, international competitions. Was placing as well, doing fairly well at that. There were a couple wins and losses that helped really define me and give me more confidence. And then when I got into Muay Thai, and around that time when I was still competing in karate was when I started to notice people were probably, you know, liking me for what I was doing rather than who I was. But at the end of the day, no one's going to be a footballer forever, no one's going to be a martial artist forever, you know. I could get injured tomorrow and never fight again, and there's got to be something more that defines you than just what you do or your sport, you know, your job, whatever it is.
He has a plan. He is 100% focused on his end game. He knows where he wants to be, he knows where he's going, and he's going to make himself get there. 100% dedication.
You got to see what you've been given, what you've been gifted with, and you have to be realistic about that. You know, there's things that I'm just not gifted with that I wouldn't necessarily pursue, but there's things that I've been gifted with. You still have to work hard.
After each round in the class, if we're doing sort of Dutch-style drilling or pad work, rule is the buzzer goes down and get your 20 press-ups on. And I had a low platform ring, and without thinking, well, right, everybody down, press up, and I can remember turning round of Jake with his shorter arm on the ring and the other hand on the floor, and that was his compensation. So he's always looking around to not skip anything. You know, it could have been a great excuse to skip doing push-ups, but he was there, man. He used the ring as a tool, and that really impressed me. That's what has always stood out in my mind.
So things are a little different now. I'm doing this as a bit of a career, right? I'm training like every day. I'm training year round, you know. I'm a lifelong martial artist, so these opportunities have presented themselves and I'm running full steam into them, fully prepared, and I'm proving myself. Knocked all 3 opponents out with ease. It's just the facts of it. I train hard, doesn't matter who I'm fighting, and doesn't matter if I think I can knock them out or whatever. I've trained like they're the best in the world, and it's gonna be a 5-round war. I'm prepared like that. I'm always looking for the finish.
I saw him the other day for the first time for a decade or so, as you say. I just saw the same look in his eyes. It's in the eyes, there's fire, he's got fire. There's a spirit in there. you know, that's not going to be broken. He's like 100% focused on his goal, you know, and that's he's got presence as well as being a humble, polite, and caring human being.
This is only his 4th pro fight, so the more experience he gets, he's going to get more comfortable, and you know, you could lose. I mean, it is fighting. Not everybody wins. In Muay Thai, the undefeated record is almost non-existent, right? You want to test yourself, take the big fights. Not like boxing where you're going to get fed cans, led all the way up. You're going to get those big fights to test yourself to see where you truly stand. He keeps winning these fights. He's going to have big tests, and I think tonight's a huge test. We're really excited for him.
Another one for the history book.
I've got lots to learn. Did some really good things. I'm young, I haven't had a ton of fights, so that guy giving me a solid 3 rounds was fantastic. It's only up from here. Gonna learn patience and professionalism as I go. No one's gonna survive me. 5 rounds, anything can happen, but 5 rounds with the dynamicness of my striking, I'm putting you away with something, whether it's a leg, a hand, an elbow, I don't know, to the body, to the head.
I'm surprised how many people were cheering for you when we were coming out on that left side. There was half the was all cheering for you.
Well, they all think I'm disabled, so of course they're gonna cheer.
The Irish can be ruthless too, though.
But does that bother you?
Huh?
Does that bother you?
No. I wish people would, like, you know, say that I'm a good fighter because I'm a good fighter, not a good one-handed fighter, you know what I mean? I'm a fighter, I've got one hand, but I'm a fighter, you know what I'm saying?